Hello everyone and welcome to another mock video. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on since it has been a while since the last video, so I figured we'd start small and then move on to the big stuff. These are a couple of not even mech suits at this point, I think I'd just call them more like power armor, that I built to be kind of an homage to classic space. As you can see, we've got a Blacktron guy and also a Space Police guy, specifically Space Police 1. 2 and 3 would probably also look good in this style, but I had the minifigure for 1, so I did 1. Big fan of both of them. They use pretty similar builds, but yeah, let's get into them. Now, the first thing I think is worth pointing out about these guys is that I did not give them hardcore, stern, I'm piloting a battlesuit type faces. Instead, I went with happy, smiley, kind of cheery faces, because if you remember the old classic space sets, they all had the pretty uniform, classic minifigure smile, which kind of kept the whole thing more lighthearted and fun, and I kind of wanted to keep that vibe because that's part of what made classic space so great in my opinion. So we've gone with that for both of these guys. The Blacktron dude's smile is maybe a little more mischievous, which I think is appropriate, but yeah, I think it just keeps him from being too serious and too grimdark, which some people like to paint classic space as, and that's fine, I'm all for it. Just not for me. A big part of what makes this small design possible is the fact that not only is the minifigure not being held in by any studs, but he's actually not even being supported hardly at all. There's nothing under his legs, which you can see there. If we fold down the front chest, you see he's actually just being held in by his arms. If we pull him out, there's a hole clear through the cockpit, and it's just the little protrusions on the side that the front armor is attached by that is supporting him at all, and then he's just kind of secured by the front flap, and that's how he gets in the armor. Now, since Blacktron is basically meant to be a gang of space thieves, I made their set of power armor slightly more limber, a little less armored and more light on its feet. It's also got this satellite dish up here, which I like to think is meant for listening in to encrypted conversations, maybe stealing some data if possible and selling it back for ransom, or just leaking it because they're probably trolls like that. Meanwhile, the Space Police armor is more durable, more armored, and also has this stun baton, which I like to think is more for shorting out enemy suits of power armor or enemy mechs or ships, or mostly just for disabling equipment that could be used for getaway. And very quickly, here's a look at what both pilots look like outside of their armor. And as always, if you like these builds and want to build them yourself, you can find a link to my PayHip page in the description that will have downloadable PDF instructions for both of these builds, as well as many of the other things I've built. If you like this video and you want to give it a thumbs up, or if you really like this video and feel free to subscribe, I'll appreciate it very much either way. I've been M1NDbender, and I will talk to you later.